Welcome to R&R's Ask the Expert. I'm your host, Mildred Ingram, R&R's editor-in-chief, and today I'm joined by special guest Andrew Dobson. He is the winner of R&R's 2023 Ladder Award, which is our annual award honoring outstanding young restoration professionals who are 35 years old and younger and shaping today's workplace. This is the award program's third year, and Andrew rose to the top of a very impressive list of 18 nominees. All nominees are reviewed by a panel of judges based on industry experience and advancement, career and industry leadership, commitment to colleagues and customers, and last but certainly not least, community service and involvement. Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Mildred. I really appreciate it. And once again, thank you for the award. It means a lot.
Absolutely. You are so deserving. And, I know I just pretty much just said your name and that you were the winner. I didn't give anything about your background, but it's because I want you to tell us about what it is that you do, who you do it for, everything. Just go ahead.
Obviously my name's Andrew Dobson, and I'm one of three owners of Serve Pro Team Dobson. My father participates in the business as well as my wife. We've been running these franchises for the last 11 years. I am currently the general manager, and I kind of oversee the entire operation. I have 8 department heads that report to me, and they all kind of run their respective divisions. But my role, I guess, in the company is kind of twofold. One, I do oversee all of the training and implementation. As you're aware, I'm an IICRC instructor, so I do believe that training is at the heart of everything that I do. Either I'm coaching or teaching my department heads, and I'm constantly reinforcing the proper procedure, the proper process with restoration. And our culture reflects that. Our culture reflects, a deep passion for the standard of care, not just as a matter of process, but to make sure that our customers get the overall experience that they need. So that's kind of my responsibility, is making sure that standard permeates and works its way down through the entire company. And I do so through training.
Okay. So you pretty much answered some of the other questions. So we already know what your high level objectives and day-to-day responsibilities kind of are. Mm-hmm. Since you touched on it, being an IICRC, certified, can you share your impressive list of certifications and awards with us? I know it's so long, so you may not be able to get through everything.
But obviously, to become an IICRC instructor, you have to be a master in your designation. So I do hold triple master status. So I'm a master fire, a master water, and a master textile cleaner. And those encompassing everything from WRT, ASD, AMRT, carpet cleaning, carpet repair, color repair, fire, all those, designations that lead to each of the master designations. I'm also a licensed lead abater, an asbestos supervisor, an asbestos inspector. And I'm ssure there's things that I'm missing.
The list goes on.
Anything that has to do with environmental, right? So I think when I was building my list of qualifications, my goal was that when I'm going into these disaster restoration situations, I want to be ready for anything that I could run into. And houses have asbestos, houses have lead. I want to be, prepared to handle it for my customer and create that turnkey operation that ultimately leads to a quick turnaround job for my customer done right.
That's amazing. That is so amazing. And so, Andrew, how did you end up where you are today? What was your path to restoration and through it? What areas do you consider your specialties?
So my path of restoration was just really by chance. I actually came out of college. I played baseball in college.
Nice.
When I came out of college, my dad owned a small janitorial company, right? So he did strip and wax, carpet cleaning, stuff like that. And so actually I came home originally to work with him for a summer, and then I was going to go to California to I was going to work for Pixar. That was like kind of I was going to do. I was do 3D animation. I was going to make the next Toy Story. That was it, right?
Yeah.
So then my dad's like, okay, well, that's fine. You can do that. but I was thinking about, right. He at the time he was like, I was thinking about running this Serve Pro, buying into his first Serve Pro franchise, right? That
Mhm.
was kind of at the time. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this first summer, and we're gonna see how it goes. And here's what I'll tell you is, my plan was to go to California, but as I was working that summer, I really thought, I must have a servant's heart or something like that, because it seemed like every customer that I served and every satisfied customer felt this like incredible gratification in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I fell in love. I fell in love with not only happy customers, but I fell in love with the the proper process. So we all, me, my wife, or my girlfriend at the time, and my
Yes.
dad, all kind of embarked on this journey as Serve Pro uh, 12 years ago, and it's been an incredible journey. So I think that was what kind of sparked it for me, is that I found out I had the servant's heart, and I wanted to see it through.
Okay. And I know we might have touched on this a bit, but what areas do you consider your specialties? I know that you have a servant's heart,
Yeah.
so
So I really think I would say water restoration might be my specialty, but
okay.
really instructing water. I'm really adept at teaching psychometrics and evaluating situations, um, large scale, large loss, catastrophe cleanup. I think that's our real niche, especially in the Serpro system, where we've really made a name for ourselves. Is we're really good with hurricane cleanups. We respond to every catastrophe nationwide. We know how to mobilize. We know how to network and get jobs accomplished in a timely manner. And most of all, I think by being an instructor, I've also learned how to build a great team,
Mhm.
a team that reflects kind of my heart, or I should say, our ownership group's heart. And then that kind of works its way down, because I can't be everywhere all at once.
Yeah,
When I'm able to um, find the right person and give them the guidance, and articulate what the process should be to them, then that trickles all the way down and permeates away through the rest of the company. So
absolutely. So would you say, excuse me, that team building is the aspect of your work that you enjoy most?
yes, I love. I open up every IICRC class
Mhm.
with, everyone usually when you go to a class, they'll say, "What's your goals?" Right? I always open up with my goals, because I feel like that's a good icebreaker. And I always tell everyone in the room, at least for my company, when I'm teaching classes, is my goal is to make masters, right? I'm a triple master. I believe it's helped me out. I believe it's given me guidance, but I believe that everyone should be able to govern their own professional growth and development, right?
Mhm.
So in our school, we actually, anyone that works for our company, I'll teach them for free, right? I won't charge them anything, but they have to give up their time.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off. Is that you can take any of my classes anytime you want, whenever you want, right? But you have to see the value in it. You have to be in charge of your own professional growth and development, because I can set someone in the class who doesn't want to be there, but those people are not ready to receive the information. They're not ready to learn. The
Right.
people that says, you know what, I'm giving up, these 3 days and I'm going to get my WRT certification, right? That's the person that's ready to learn, because they want to grow professionally. They want to grow and develop, right? So um, that's kind of been our philosophy, and it seems to be working.
Okay. Okay. And so what about restoration projects? I know that you say that water would probably be maybe the strong suit. Is there a most memorable project that stands out in your mind? And if so, what did that entail?
Oh boy,
So many.
that is a hard question. So I would say one of the more challenging projects I had was I had a hotel in Louisiana after Hurricane Laura.
Ooh,
Um, and I think the challenge there was a back-to-back hurricane situation, Laura and Delta, and it hit the hotel twice.
God.
So I think the challenge on that one was it was a large hotel. It was a 80-room hotel, so it was not small. Um, and you know, logistically, the hotel did so much infrastructural damage, supplemental power. We need to bring in generators. We need to bring in water because the plumbing system was essentially scrapped, and everything needed to be brought in. Right, there was really no infrastructure to work with, and you take for granted all the things of life that we have here. And uh, you know, it was evident that it made it a lot more challenging down there. Not to mention that after we mobilized all of those things, we had to demobilize because the next hurricane was on the way, and then remobilize again for the second hurricane. So, and we were almost done before the other hurricane hit, but then the second hurricane hit and re-affected the entire building again. So,
My goodness.
yeah,
That's
that would be the most memorable. I've cleaned up after a lot of hurricanes. I've never been in the path of one, so it was certainly different.
then that's a double whammy on
Yeah, it
top of
was.
that. So on to the topic of growth, which is a critical aspect of the ladder award. We talked about this a bit, before, but I've read that instructorship is your passion, and you not only teach restoration classes, as mentioned, but you also conduct financial training as well. Can you
Yes.
elaborate on that a bit?
So I am a huge Dave Ramsey debt-free
Yes.
person. For that class, anyone that becomes a manager in my company has to go through Financial Peace University, or at least the first 5 classes. And what that teaches people is how to manage their personal finances. It teaches them the importance of minimizing or eliminating your debt,
Mhm.
the understandings of how to create a budget, how to tell your money where to go. Because what I'll tell, and most of my management members and even technicians and crew chiefs who elect to take the class, this is a free class that anyone can come in and take. But really, what I tell them is that there are people who make very little, who are very well budgeted, and live very comfortable financial lives. And there are people who make a lot of money who aren't properly budgeted, and they end up finding themselves in crazy amounts of debt, crazy amounts of stress, and not living the life that God really wants them to lead. So, and so I kind of share those core philosophies, those core principles with them. And I'll tell you, um, that was a game changer for the company. Most people, when you solve that simple financial management problem, all of the emergencies in their life that sometimes takes them away from work, right? They're
Right.
no longer emergencies because they were planning for it, right? They had
Yep.
put money aside for that car breakdown. They had put money aside for these things. And it seems like all the problems that are catastrophes in your life that prevent you from getting to work or prevent you from, helping out somebody else. Now they're just all part of the plan, and your life continues as normal. So I think that was a big thing for me. And actually, it's a passion of mine. I enjoy sharing that stuff with them. So
Oh my gosh. So you know what? I actually had another question I was going to ask you next, but I'm skipping that.
go ahead.
And I'm going to go into, can you talk more about the active role that you play in going above yourself and helping your colleagues grow? You just did that.
Yeah.
I don't even think you really have to talk about that anymore. I mean, I think that that's amazing.
Yeah.
Not many managers care about,
Yeah.
your financial situation. They just figured, it's you and you'll do it and you'll, figure out what to do with that. And if you fail at it, it
Yep.
has nothing to do with them. So,
Well, I will say I'm really blessed to have come from a family of faith that's instilled kind of these principles to me at a young age. Maybe didn't articulate it quite so eloquently as Dave Ramsey did. But I will say the basic principles were there. And when me and my wife got married, we went through financial peace. And
mhm,
I saw the stability it created in our lives. Because I can tell you just in the first year, um, restructuring your marriage for financial success was daunting, right?
mhm.
It's is this yours? Is this mine? If we're going to do this communal thing, how are we going to set it up? How are we structuring? How are we going to manage money? Um, you know,
It's a
You
big deal.
spent this, I spent that, instead having that proactive budget where we agree when the money comes in, this is where it's going to go, right?
Mhm.
It solves all the problems proactively. So, but as far as helping my team grow on an individual basis, I do like to spend a lot of time with my team in talking about not just professional, but some personal problems, right? I don't try to get too in depth
Yeah, can't.
on the, I'm not trying to get too in depth on that, but I
Yes,
do try and give them enough advice on structuring their personal finances to
yes.
support their own personal growth as individuals. So I do think that giving that extra time, and to date, I've helped 10 to 15 people get out of debt. So I'm,
Wow,
I am, I
that's
think,
huge.
and every single one, I was like, thank God, and I see, dude, it's fun. It's, you celebrate together. You're cutting up credit cards, you're dancing on them on the carpet, and you're
Yeah,
just,
cutting them up and
I
throwing
know
them.
you're free, right? The chains are off, right?
Yeah.
I live for those moments. I really do. And if all I had was those moments, it would be worth it. So,
Wow, that's amazing.
mm.
So, as far as your own knowledge and skill set, what are some key ways that you elevated that?
Oh, so that's an everyday basis. For me, as the company has grown, my weaknesses get exposed every day. As the owner, as it grows, when it was just me on the truck, my knowledge of restoration needed to get better. So I was good better at that. But as the company's grown, my knowledge of finances got needed to get better. Which Dave Ramsey certainly helped with that. But then as it grew even further, I had to get better at teaching and organizing and communicating. And because you can talk to your blue in the face, but if you don't structure your communication, not everyone's going to hear you, or this person's going to hear one thing, or someone else is going to hear another, and the company's not on the same page. So for me, communication and um, creating a system of cooperation
Mhm.
has been my latest challenge that we're working through every day. But that's been my current professional growth. But that's also leading me to know that if there's something in restoration that I haven't refined myself in, trying to think, like, for example, I was weak in construction,
Mhm.
right? I did not have a construction background. The industry was going to a full service, and it it would be too simple to think I need to find a construction manager to do this for me, right?
Right.
And I can't, because he won't respect me as an owner if I
Right.
don't know at least the gist of what he's talking about. So I started studying construction. I started looking up what other companies were doing. I started hanging out with construction crews to understand how they approach jobs, how they organize jobs. And then it's amazing that I can start drawing correlations between divisions. I'm like, hey, what if we tried this? Because I know how to organize well for mitigation. This worked in mitigation. Maybe we can try it in construction. And a lot of times there's a lot of similarities of how you approach the job, right? How you set
Right.
your truck up in the morning, how you approach the customer. Is your site clean, right?
Yep.
For construction, it's the simple things that always lead to a high level of customer satisfaction. And I think once I developed that part of my game, then I think that it's never ending. You're always getting exposed.
Always getting exposed, continuous growth. That's life. Life is
Yep.
about continuous growth.
Yep. We're constantly
So,
reminded of how big of an idiot we are, I guess.
absolutely, keep us humbled. Keep us
Right.
humbled for sure. So, what advice do you have for other young people considering a career of their own in restoration who aren't already a part of the industry?
So what I'll say is that this is a very rewarding industry. One, it's the biggest thing is that it is successful. It is achievable. There's a goal here that you can attain. This is not a roadblock, and there's no cap on the limit of the potential that you can make it. It is whatever you want it to be. Um, it's a grind. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a 24/7 business. So you have to have the heart to help, right?
Right.
But the reward, if you have that heart, the reward you get from all the people that you help, it's emotionally rewarding, it's financially rewarding. And at the day, you get to see something that's absolutely catastrophic and come together and come to something that most of the time was better than it was when the customer lived there, right? You get to see this gigantic transformation. If you can accomplish that task, then it's amazing to see. So,
Okay. And it's definitely playing a role in some sense of putting someone's life back together sometimes,
yep,
just depending on the complexity or severity of what it is that you're having to work with.
yep.
Um, so what advice would you have for those under 35 who are already working in the restoration industry and they're looking to advance in their careers as you have?
So don't ever lose sight of the details of every day, right? Every day you come in, if you ever feel like yourself, I'm in a rut, it's just the same old thing every day. If you're not trying to get better every single day, then you're not going to improve. And that doesn't mean just doing your job. It means coming in and, okay, my truck was set up this way this day, but what if I added a shelf here, right? What
Right.
if I cleaned my truck out and reorganized it? Or what if I said, you know what, this extractor is not working anymore because it's too old. Let's get a new one, right? Um, is my approach. I do a half-hour instructorship on how do I approach the front door of a house, right? And
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself, did I approach the door? Do I have my hands in my front? Do I have my hands in my back? If you're holding an iPad, are you greeting them at the door? If it's raining outside, do you still give the customer the required amount of space between yourself and the door? Am I
Hmm.
in the right uniform? There have been times customers, and I would work all day, right? I would work all day, and customers would yell at me, but they would judge me for being dirty when I came to the door. And so what did I could say in those moments, you can say, well, that customer wasn't being fair to me because I was dirty. Or you can carry a different shirt in your truck and make yourself presentable all the time, right?
Right.
And really, you should always accept those challenges from customers, from colleagues. You should always accept those challenges and say, you know what? I'm going to try and get better. I'm going to try and do that better. And if you accept those challenges every single time, it'll lead to your own professional growth, right? Because you'll learn what the customer's expectations are. You'll be better at managing the customer. If you're a technician now, you may be a production manager soon to come, right? So if you start acting like that now and start learning what those expectations are from your colleagues and your customer, then your professional growth is assured.
Absolutely. And last but not least, can you share a little bit with us about yourself outside of work, what you do in your free time?
So I try to be a super dad, and to a fault sometimes. So I have a 2-year-old son and I have a 4-year-old daughter.
Hmm.
And I just, I want to give them the world, right? That's the kind of dad that I am. I want to give them the world. I bought a play set that's way bigger than what I should have bought them. Uh, and, uh, you know, but when you see them play on the playground, it makes it all worth it. So
Worth it.
the heart is, it's all worth it, right? Then, it's July 5th now. I just had July 4th. I had a fireworks display that was probably way too big for them, right? But that's what drives me every day is that I can come home and provide them with a better life than uh, yeah, better life tomorrow than it was today. So,
Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely. And I completely understand that. I have a 1-year-old, and yeah,
Oh my gosh, you're just coming right out of it now.
I am. And he just started walking last week. And yeah, like
Is that your first child?
My first.
Oh man, you are on it. You're in the thing.
And the things that I've gotten him already, and
Yeah.
like just my parents, it's crazy. I'm like, man, when we get a yard,
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like already figuring out like how I could stick like a play set in a room. So
Yes.
I understand. I completely understand.
They'll take
Okay.
over everything if you let them.
Yes. You know what? Thank you so much
No
for
problem.
your time and insight. And
Yeah.
really congratulations
Thank
again
you so
on being
much.
the winner of the 2023 Ladder Award. You are absolutely, absolutely deserving.
I appreciate
And
it.
before we go, where can our listeners, connect with you more about Surf Pro?
So I'm here at work every day, so they can connect with me here. If you want to give us a call, 330-393-9999. It's probably the easiest phone number to memorize ever. Or they can send me an email, Andrew@ServProTeamDobson. And if they ever have inquiries or if they ever want to ask, I love collaborating in the industry. I always say that anytime you go to a convention or a trade show, look for that little gold nugget because everyone somewhere knows something that you don't. And if you take every conversation like that, then you'll always get that one gold nugget that makes you better.
It's true. So listeners and viewers, you can learn more about Andrew, our first and second runners-up in the September 2023 R&R e-magazine, and exclusively for the month of September this year, our print magazine, as well as on our website. Please keep your eyes open and ears peeled for nominations to reopen for next year's Ladder Award in 2024. And for more insights on restoration, remediation, and the people behind it all, visit our website, rnrmagazineonline.com, Apple, Spotify. And if you haven't yet, be sure to follow the podcast and, keep up to date with our latest episodes and give us a quick review and rating. We're also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, so we invite you to follow us there too. Thank you for listening.